Hi. Hi everyone. Welcome to a new live stream. Bienvenidos a un nuevo en vivo. How's it going? How are you today? Today we're going to learn about the indirect object and the indirect object pronouns. And let's see how it goes. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and also click on the bell icon so you can get notified every time I live stream. Also, I want to give a big shout out to our members, to our Cafecito members, Raymond Sather, William Lopez, David Beaver, KS. Thank you guys for the support and the coffee. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And remember that we're live streaming. And before I continue, I want to let you know that you can get a membership on this channel as well. So the Cafecito membership, actually, we only have one. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to click on the join button down below. And you can read more about the perks and the monthly fee. I think it's like less than $3 or so. And well, if you get a chance, please do that. I would appreciate that. But if not, another way to support this channel is by giving the thumbs up. That helps me a lot too. Thank you again to the members, and let's continue. Let's move on. Remember, we're live streaming, so you can use the live chat to ask any questions. I see already some people over there. Alex, Matthias, hola. Hola, Alex. Rock and roll, buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Free Spirit, hola. Hola. And Christopher, Michael, hola a todos. Quiero ser un miembro. Well, Christopher, welcome all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to become a member, just click on the join button down below. You can see it. It's like right below this video. And yeah, feel free to check that out. Thank you so much, Christopher. Okay, so let's talk about this important topic, the indirect object in Spanish. Okay, how does it work? Do you know what this is all about? We're going to learn the pronouns as well. In the previous live stream, we talked about the direct object and its pronouns. Today, we're learning about the indirect object and its pronouns, okay? So they're quite similar. The only difference is how they're used in a sentence, okay? So if you don't know about the direct object, please feel free to check out my previous lesson, the previous live stream, and you will know everything about it, okay? So, oh my God, thank you so much, Christopher, Michael. Welcome to Cafecito membership. To the Cafecito membership. Thank you so much, Christopher. That's so cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate you getting the membership. Thank you. That's awesome. That makes me happy. Okay, let's move on. So, let's learn about el objeto indirecto. El objeto indirecto. That's in Spanish, guys. El objeto indirecto, or the indirect object or indirect object. And this is just the recipient of the direct object. You can recognize this, indirect object by asking yourself to whom or for whom an action is being completed. Okay? So essentially, you're doing something for someone, and that someone is the indirect object in the sentence. Let's look at some examples. Welcome, APD El Rahman. Sorry, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering all of your names, but welcome, APD. Bienvenido. Okay, so let's look at some examples and let's identify the indirect object. Okay, the first example is ella canta una canción a su niño. ella canta una canción a su niño. And this means she sings a song to her kid. Okay? So, the direct object in this sentence is the song. Okay? Canción. Because the direct object is the recipient of the action of the verb. Okay? So, the song is the direct object in the sentence. The indirect object of the sentence is the boy, el niño, or the kid, okay? So, el niño is the recipient of the direct object, okay? The kid is listening to the song, okay? And the mom or ella, she, is singing the song to her kid, okay? Ella canta una canción a su niño. El niño is the indirect object in the sentence. Okay. Remember, if you don't know, if you can't recognize the indirect object, just ask yourself to whom or for whom the action is being completed. Okay? So, now let's look at the next example. Miguel compró, past tense, un pastel para su novia. Miguel compró un pastel para su novia. Okay, so the translation is Miguel bought a cake for his girlfriend. The direct object is the cake, okay? And the indirect object is the girlfriend, okay? For whom is the cake? Para la novia. So, novia. La novia is the indirect object in the sentence. Miguel compró un pastel para su novia. Miguel bought a cake for his girlfriend. Okay, so now we know, or we can identify the indirect object in sentences. To whom or for whom an action is being completed. Just keep that in mind. Okay, now that we know about the indirect object or el objeto indirecto, let's learn the pronouns that we can use, because you can replace the indirect objects with pronouns. Okay, pronouns, famous pronouns. And also the direct objects, or not the direct objects, but direct objects in sentences can be replaced with pronouns, okay? But if you watched the previous lesson, you probably know them already. If not, please just feel free to check that out. But today we're going to focus only on the indirect object pronouns, okay? Now, the first one is me. Me means me, to me, or for me. Okay, so very versatile. And all of them are very versatile. But yeah, so me means me, to me, or for me. Te means you, to you, for you, and it relates to tú, which means tú is a personal pronoun, and it means you, okay? But te is different. Te is used to replace indirect objects in a sentence, okay? So just keep that in mind. Tú is completely different from te. Tú means you, like tú comes, you eat. You can't say te comes. That sounds weird. So I just want to clarify that. Sorry. Le means him, to him, for him, her, to her, for her, it, to eat, for it, you, to you, for you. Okay, and when we're talking about you, it's a formal you. Okay, so it relates to usted. Le is different from te. Okay, te also means you, to you, for you, but te is for informal situations. Le is for formal situations. Very similar, or it relates to usted. Now, the next one. Nos. Nos. Nos, nos, nos. Nos means us, to us, or for us. Okay? We're gonna use, or you're gonna see some examples using all of these pronouns, so don't worry about that. Just remember what they mean. Us is us. It sounds like us, like this one. Very similar. The sound is very similar. Us means you, to you, for you, and it relates to vosotros or vosotras. So this one, us, is used only in Spain. Okay, so keep that in mind. Just like vosotros and vosotras, you need them only in Spain. You don't need them in Latin American countries. Latin American countries, sorry. I need some water, just 1 second. Okay, and lastly, les. Les. Les means them, to them, for them, you, to you, for you. And it relates to ustedes. So it's a plural you, okay? When I say it means you, to you, for you, you're talking to a group of people, not one person, okay? So yeah, essentially, them, to them, for them as well, and you, to you, for you. Les, remember, just as ustedes is used mainly in Latin American countries. Okay, so yeah, just keep that in mind. If you're in Spain, you will use this, us, and les in Latin America. Okay, APD asks, why are you say novia, not amiga? You're probably talking about the previous example that we were talking about Miguel buying a cake for his girlfriend. Novia means girlfriend, as in you're dating the person. Novia doesn't mean friend, okay? I know in English, girlfriends or girlfriend can mean, my bestie, just a friend, a female friend. But in Spanish, it doesn't translate. Amiga means friend. Novia means girlfriend. That's it. I think that's what you're asking. I'm not sure. Free spirit. Communication is very important. Yes, it is. I agree. I agree. Okay, so now let's use these pronouns in some sentences, okay? Let's see how they work. So you need to follow a few rules when using these pronouns, and we will learn the most important ones, okay? So the indirect object pronoun usually comes before the verb. So if you're gonna use any of the pronouns, you need to use them before the verb, okay? Usually. You can use them after a verb, but I'll talk about it in a few minutes. Okay, so I have all the pronouns here, right? So let's use them all. The first example says, Miguel hace un pastel para. This literally means Miguel makes a cake for someone, okay? So we're talking about the indirect object. For example, it's very often to see, I don't know, if I say something like para ti, okay, para mí, sorry. Miguel hace un pastel para mí. We will talk about me in a future lesson. That's a pronoun as well. But let's just focus on the indirect object pronouns for now. Miguel hace un pastel para mí. That means Miguel makes a cake for me. You're essentially saying that, okay? And if you want to replace para mí, okay, that's the indirect object in the sentence, you can say Miguel me hace un pastel. Essentially, you're saying Miguel makes me a cake. Sounds weird, but yeah. Essentially, you're saying the same thing, that Miguel is making a cake for you, or for me, rather, but you're just using the indirect object pronoun me, okay? So we essentially replaced this with this, and both sentences mean the same thing, okay? Miguel me hace un pastel. And remember, you place the pronoun before the verb. Miguel me hace un pastel. Okay? So it gets tricky, but it's not that complicated. You only need to practice. Remember that. Now let's use te, this one right here, te, which means you, to you, for you, and it relates to tú. Okay? So I could say, Miguel hace un pastel para ti. Okay? Para ti. And essentially you're saying Miguel makes a cake for you. Okay? Para ti, para mí. We will talk about those two words later on. But essentially you're saying Miguel makes a cake for you. Miguel hace un pastel para ti. And the indirect object, once again, is para ti. You're talking about you, right? Para ti. And if you want to replace para ti in the sentence, you can say Miguel te hace un pastel. Okay? Miguel te hace un pastel. Means the same thing. It means the same thing. Miguel te hace un pastel. And this means Miguel is making you a cake. Okay? You're essentially saying that Miguel is making you a cake, or Miguel makes a cake for you. So both sentences mean the same thing. You're saying the same thing differently, but the difference is that you replaced the indirect object with an indirect object pronoun. Okay? Now let's do le. Okay? Let's use the same sentence. Miguel hace un pastel para él. Remember, le can be used if you want to replace if you're talking about him, her, it, well, it or you relating to usted. Para él, ella, and let's say usted, because it doesn't make much sense in the sentence. So let's use él, ella, and usted. Free spirit. What if it's in past tense, as in Miguel made me a cake? We can after this, after using le, let's do that, the past tense. Essentially, it's pretty much the same, but let's talk about that after we use le. Okay? Great question. That's a good question. Okay, so Miguel hace un pastel para él, or para ella, or para usted. essentially you're saying Miguel makes a cake for him, her, or you, formal. Okay? Singular and formal. Usted. Remember that. So that's the indirect object pronoun. Well, we have, not pronoun, sorry, the indirect object. Para él, para ella, para usted. And if you want to replace para él or para ella or para usted, you can just say Miguel le hace un pastel. And this means Miguel makes him, her, or you a cake. Okay? So it's very interesting how we can say the same thing just by replacing the indirect object in the sentence. And even the sentence looks shorter. So that's something good. You don't have to, repeat over and over the indirect object in the sentence. You can just replace it with the pronouns, and it's gonna be good. You're gonna sound more natural. So please practice this because it's very important. Miguel le hace un pastel means Miguel makes him, her, or you a cake. So that's pretty interesting. Now, if this is in present tense, past tense, if Miguel already made the cake, so let's see how it would work. The only change that you need is just the conjugation of the verb, really. Miguel hizo un pastel para él, ella, and or usted. And essentially, you're just saying Miguel made a cake for him, her, or you. And if we want to do it here, Miguel le hizo, just same thing. You only need to change the conjugation of the verb, and it works perfectly fine. Miguel made him, her, you a cake. Okay, Miguel le hizo un pastel. Past tense. He already made the cake. So that is the answer to your question, Free Spirit. So it's pretty straightforward, nothing complicated. You only need to remember the conjugation of different verbs, and you can use the same pattern in different tenses. Okay, so don't worry about that. Just worry about the conjugation of the verb. Okay, so APD El Rahman says, what the best film in Spanish to learn more vocabulary? Can you recommendation any film Spanish? Okay, so you want to know any movie in Spanish? Oh man. Let me tell you that Netflix has many good series and TV shows and movies in Spanish. You can even turn on the subtitles if you want, or you can find specifically movies that are in Spanish on Netflix. I've seen a bunch of them. So I don't know. I don't have any particular name. I don't know any good movie in Spanish. I usually watch movies in English. So I'm sorry. I don't know. I was watching. Well, we can talk about that at the end of the video. Let's move on. Antonio Barroso, Sublime, best teacher ever. Oh, thank you so much, Antonio. I'm glad that this is helpful. Okay, Free Spirit, got it. Thank you. You're welcome. That's awesome. Okay, now let's do nos. Let's talk about this one right here. This pronoun nos. Okay, nos. Nos, remember, means us, to us, for us. So if I say Miguel hace un pastel para nosotros. Nosotros means us. Okay, so essentially you're saying Miguel makes a cake for us. Okay. So nosotros, that's the basic personal pronoun that we all know. But if you, and of course, in the situation, again, nosotros is the indirect object, and we need to replace it with nos, okay? So you can say Miguel nos hace un pastel. Miguel nos hace un pastel, and that means Miguel makes us a cake. You're essentially saying that, okay? So nos means us as well, to us, for us. It's an indirect object pronoun. So, and it can also be a direct object pronoun. The direct object pronouns and the indirect object pronouns are quite similar. Just the difference is, you know, the direct object and the indirect object in different sentences. So, but essentially, you're saying, Miguel nos hace un pastel. Miguel makes us a cake. Miguel hace un pastel para nosotros. Miguel makes a cake for us. So, same thing, different way to say it. Okay, now let's do the next one. Os. Os, once again, means you, to you, for you, and it relates to vosotros or vosotras. It can be feminine, masculine, okay? So if, same with nos, okay? Nos can be feminine and masculine. So now if I say, Miguel hace un pastel para vosotros, okay, that's in Spain. Vosotros means you, plural you. That's the indirect object in the sentence. Miguel makes a cake for you guys. Okay, we're talking about a group of people. Miguel os hace un pastel. Miguel os hace un pastel. I'm pretty sure this changes. Or it's the thing is that I'm not from Spain. I'm not Spaniard. So os hace. I'm pretty sure this is os hace. Like it's correct. Os hace un pastel. I'm sorry about that. This is a bit I don't know if it's hacéis, os hacéis. No. Sorry, this is correct. Oh, it's just vosotros can be tricky. Even like for me, my native language is Spanish, but I don't know much about Spain. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I'm pretty confident that this is the way you say it. Miguel os hace un pastel. Miguel makes you a cake. Oops, sorry. Makes you a cake. Miguel makes you a cake. Miguel os hace un pastel. Yeah, it's correct. I'm confident. Sorry about that. So essentially we replace vosotros, which is the indirect object in the sentence, with the indirect object pronoun os. Miguel os hace un pastel. Okay? So far, so good. Phew. Okay, the last one, guys. The last one, les. Les means them, to them, for them, you, plural you, to you, for you, relating to ustedes, and it's only used in Latin America. Okay, so Miguel hace un pastel para ustedes. Okay, so essentially you're saying the same thing. Miguel makes a cake for you guys, and we only need to replace os with les. Okay, Miguel les hace un pastel. Miguel les hace un pastel, and this means Miguel makes you a cake. You guys a cake. So yeah, remember the indirect object is this one right here. Essentially also para ustedes. But ustedes is the indirect, for like the indirect object in the sentence. Miguel les hace un pastel. That is the pronoun les, as les, only les. And yeah, same thing. Okay, so this is very common in Spanish, guys. I know it can be very tricky. I know it can get really confusing, but once you practice and practice and practice, you're gonna get it. Really, like, it's not gonna be that hard. Now, there are a few other rules, guys. Can get more complicated. Okay, so Christopher Michael says, vosotros es un poco extraño para mí también. Yes, I know vosotros can be tricky, but if you are not interested in, in the Spanish from Spain, then you're gonna be fine. I have videos about vosotros, but yeah, it can be tricky. I know, Christopher. I agree. Okay. Now, guys, let's talk about orders. Okay, that's done. Let's talk about orders or instructions, okay? So when you're telling someone what to do, or you want someone to do something, the pronoun, the indirect object pronoun, goes on the end of the verb. So you pretty much add the pronoun to the verb all together, okay? And it just forms one word only. Specifically when you are talking about orders and instructions. And they're positive orders, so you're telling someone to do something, okay? Essentially, we're talking about that. And now you know all the pronouns, so let's do it a little faster. So essentially, if you have a command, you can say cuéntame, cuéntame. Remember? Well, not remember, but you have to add an accent mark. Most of the times, you have to add an accent mark to the word cuéntame. Okay, you need to pay attention to the intonation. Cuéntame un cuento. And yeah, it became one word, guys. One word. Cuéntame un cuento. And you're saying, tell me a story. Okay? So it's very tricky. I know it can get really tricky. But it's a command. You can say, please, of course, cuéntame un cuento, por favor. But essentially, it's considered an order or instruction or some sort of command, okay? Cuéntame un cuento. That's how you say it if you want to use the indirect object pronouns. If you say cuéntate un cuento, you're pretty much saying tell yourself a story. Okay, it's you're just saying, it's kind of weird. It sounds weird, but I mean, essentially it's grammatically correct. Cuéntate un cuento. And te, obviously, that's the pronoun, and we just added to the verb, okay? It becomes one word. Cuéntate un cuento. Tell yourself a story, okay? Or you can also say cuéntale un cuento. And you're saying tell him, her, or you a story. Technically it as well, but in this case it makes sense if we say tell him, her, or you a story, okay? Cuéntale un cuento, okay? Or you can say cuéntanos un cuento. Cuéntanos un cuento. And this means tell us a story, okay? Tell us a story. Cuéntanos un cuento. Cuéntanos un cuento. Tell us a story, okay? The next pronoun would be os. Os. Cuentaos. Cuentaos un cuento. Technically, that's how you would say grammatically. But remember, I'm not from Spain, so this part can be tricky for me. Cuentaos un cuento. So essentially, you're saying tell us, or tell you plural, a story. This vosotros part, man, I feel so bad because I know I should do it better, but it can be tricky for me as well. And lastly, guys, cuéntales un cuento. And this means tell them or you, okay? Tell them or you a story. It sounds more like tell them. Tell you guys. Let me tell you a story. Cuéntales un cuento. Yeah, it can get tricky. It's to me, it sounds more like you're saying them in this particular situation, okay? Cuéntales un cuento. Tell them a story. Okay, so... So now you know that you need to pretty much add the pronoun, the indirect object pronoun, to the verb. You need to add it all together, or like make it into one word, or just make it one word. And remember the accent mark, so you have the correct intonation. And yeah, in this situation, that's when you are telling someone what to do, okay? So it's a positive command. But let me tell you that there's more. If you want to tell someone not to do something, so the opposite of the positive command, we're saying don't do something, okay? Don't do something. Then it's something different. You cannot make it one word. You need to place the pronoun, the indirect object pronoun, before the verb, okay? So keep that in mind. I know it's a lot, but that's how it works. I'm sorry. I apologize because I know it can get very, very tricky. So let's do it really quickly, and we will have one more thing, because sometimes, guys, we have two verbs in a sentence, okay? So it can get more complicated. So I'll just talk about that after this, and that would be it. That would be it. It's a lot, and it's Friday. So in orders and instructions telling someone not to do something, the pronoun, the indirect object pronoun, does not join until the end of the verb, or you don't make it one word. As I said before, you have to place it before the verb. For example, you can say, no me cuentes un cuento. Same example as the one before, but we're saying just don't do that, okay? Don't tell me a story. Don't tell me a story. That's what that means. No me cuentes un cuento. Okay? I don't want to know your story. Don't tell me about it. So, no me cuentes un cuento means don't tell me a story. Okay? You don't want to know it. You don't want to hear it. So we placed the pronoun before the verb. Okay? You cannot make it one word in this situation. No te cuentes un cuento. Technically correct. You're pretty much saying don't tell yourself a story in this situation, of course, because we are conjugating the verb for the personal pronoun tú, okay? Tú cuentes un cuento. So that's why you're pretty much telling a story to yourself. Okay, no te cuentes un cuento. Don't tell yourself a story. The next one, no le cuentes un cuento. Don't tell him, her, you a story. Same thing. And the next one is no nos cuentes un cuento. No nos cuentes un cuento. And this means don't tell us a story. Okay? No nos cuentes un cuento. Don't tell us a story. And the next one technically is os, the famous os. No os cuentes un cuento. And you're pretty much saying the same thing, you know, as I said when we were talking about te. You're pretty much saying don't tell yourselves. Sounds more like yourselves because it's plural you, okay? So before I said you, but this in English doesn't make much sense. Don't tell you a story because you're talking to a group of people. So I would say don't tell us a story. But it could be you yourselves, you know, you're just talking to a group of people in Spain. So it can, no os cuentes un cuento. So don't tell us pretty much a story. Don't tell to a group of people a story. So, and it can get confusing, I know. No les cuentes un cuento. And this means don't tell them a story. Okay. Or to the group of people, don't tell them a story. No les cuentes un cuento. Okay. In this particular situation, it's tricky when you want to say you, plural you, and from Spain and from Latin America. No les cuentes un cuento. Don't tell them a story. I can come back to that at the end. I just want to go over everything. Or what do you think, guys? What do you think? Okay, Christopher says, entonces, you have to use subjunctive when you say not to do something or for something for commands or order / order. Can you share an example of that, Christopher? That would be like, how would you say it in English? But yeah. Okay, so let's move on. No os cuentes un cuento. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, but let me just go over the last thing. And that would be it. And I might come back to this because I want to tell you a different example using os and les. Because essentially when we're talking about telling a story, it can get tricky. That specific example. Okay, so lastly, when having two verbs, guys, because you know, when you, it happens in English as well. You can use two different verbs in one sentence. When that happens in Spanish, you can place the pronouns before or add them to the second verb to make one word. Okay, so you have two options. Essentially, place it before. You can place it before the verb, the verbs, or you make it one word. Specifically, you use the second verb for that. For example, quiero cantarme. Why not? Quiero cantarme una canción. So you're pretty much saying, I want to sing a song to me. Maybe you're just, you don't like silence and you just want to sing a song to you. Okay, so you can do that. Why not? And you can, as I said, you can make one word, cantarme una canción, or you can actually say, me quiero cantar una canción. And essentially you're saying the same thing. I want to sing to me, You know, I want to sing a song to me, or for, you know, like I just want to sing a song specifically to me, for me. I don't know. And we placed the pronoun at the beginning or after we added it to the second verb. Okay, so same thing, just a different way to say it. Quiero cantarme una canción. Me quiero cantar una canción. I want to sing a song to me. Okay, so essentially you're saying that. I know that is weird, but if I change this to quiere, for example, quiere, él quiere, okay, we're talking about him or he. Let me just add it. So it makes more sense, right? Él quiere cantarme una canción. And essentially you're saying he wants to sing me a song. Okay? We change it here too. Okay? Just the conjugation of the verb. And essentially you're saying the same thing. That he wants to sing a song to me. Or he wants to sing me a song. Okay? So essentially the same thing. Él quiere cantarme una canción. Or me quiere cantar una canción. And we're talking about he. He wants to sing a song to me or sing me a song. Same thing, a different way to say it. Okay, so let's go back to quiero. Quiero. Now, guys, let's remove me and let's replace it with the next pronoun. Okay, the next pronoun is te. Quiero cantarte una canción. Remember the two verbs, guys. Quiero is a verb. It's conjugated. The infinitive verb is querer. Querer. Quiero, conjugated. Quiero cantar. Cantar. Remember, querer means to want. Cantar means to sing. So we have the two verbs at the beginning of the sentence. And that's why we're talking about that, okay? And you can see the two verbs here as well, okay? So if you have the two verbs, you have two options, as I said before. You can add the pronoun to the second verb, or you can add the pronoun before the two verbs, okay? So in this situation, the first phrase or the first sentence says, quiero cantarte una canción. Quiero cantarte una canción. Okay, so cantarte, that's the pronoun right there. And it became one word, the verb and the pronoun, or you can place it before the two verbs. Essentially, you're saying, I want to sing a song to you, okay? Because remember, te means you, to you, for you. Okay, I want to sing a song to you. I want to sing you a song. Same thing. Quiero cantarte una canción. Te quiero cantar una canción. That's correct. Now, the next pronoun would be quiero cantarle. Okay, quiero cantarle, or le quiero cantar una canción. Both are perfectly fine, correct. And essentially you're saying, I want to sing you a song, him. Well, let's just add it here. Him, her, you. Formal you, okay? Quiero cantarle una canción. Le quiero cantar una canción. I want to sing a song to him, her, or you. Okay, so yeah, can get really, really tricky. Now the next one is nos. Quiero cantarnos. We can keep it like that. Quiero cantarnos una canción, or nos quiero cantar una canción. And you're pretty much saying, I want to sing a song to us, or sing us a song. So same thing. Okay. And let's do the tricky one, us. Quiero cantaros. Okay. Quiero cantaros una canción, or os quiero cantar una canción. And that means I want to sing a song to you guys. Okay. Remember, this is plural you. So you're talking to a group of people. Quiero cantaros una canción, or os quiero cantar una canción. Okay. Lastly, guys, quiero cantarles una canción, or les quiero cantar una canción. That's the last one. And this means I want to sing a song to you guys. The same thing. Remember, us, Spain, les, Latin America. And yeah, that's what you're saying. Quiero cantarles una canción. Les quiero cantar una canción. Same thing. Same thing. But yeah, we're using just the indirect object pronouns. And let's see if we can come back to this one. But before, Christopher, my apologies. I was asking if subjunctive is optional. Por ejemplo, no les cuentes en lugar de no les cuentas. Ajá. No les cuentes. Well, technically, no les cuentes is correct. No les cuentas can also be correct. You could say, ¿por qué no les cuentas un cuento? Okay? Or, no les cuentes un cuento. So, for commands, it makes more sense if you say, no les cuentes, more than no les cuentas. No les cuentas is, it doesn't look like it's a command. No les cuentes is a command for sure. So the first one is correct. No les cuentes. Okay? So, great question. I like it. Okay. So, the last part. No les cuentes. So that makes sense. No les cuentes. No os cuentes. Yeah, this part is fine. No os cuentes. Which part was the one that was a bit tricky? No os cuentes un cuento. So don't tell us a story. Essentially, you're saying no, don't tell us a story. Yeah, it's quite tricky. Because os usually means you to you for you, and it relates to vosotros or vosotras. Okay? But technically you're telling to them to not say any story, to not tell any story. Yeah. This is technically correct. No os cuentes un cuento. Okay? And no les cuentes un cuento is correct as well. You're just asking to someone not to do something to that group of people, okay? And same with os and les. So technically, yeah, it's correct. That's correct. Okay, so I guess I was overthinking that. But anyways, guys, that is it. Do you have any more questions? Anything else that you would like to talk about? That's it. And thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Christopher and Michael got it. Thanks. Awesome. That's great. And we can talk about commands, more about commands in a different lesson. I have a lesson actually about it was about moods, Spanish moods. And I talked about commands as well. So please feel free to browse my channel and see if you can find that lesson. You can use a search bar. There's a search bar if you go to my channel. There's a search bar where you can find different videos just from my channel. So you can use that. I can show you how to do that in the next live stream. But yeah, you can find like many lessons on my channel. All of them are free. So yeah, feel free to just check that out. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for learning Spanish. All this like Spanish grammatical rules, and oh my god, it can get tricky, but it's not that difficult once you start speaking the language, practicing and all of that. You can rewatch this live stream if you want, or if you want to take some screenshots as well, because maybe you want to practice your Spanish using the indirect object pronouns, so you can do that. Feel free to do that. You should. And also remember that you can join our Discord community or Spanish community on Discord. That is for free, guys. And you can find the link to that in the video description down below. It says Discord and then a link. There's a link next to that. And it's for free, guys. That one is for free. And we talk about Spanish. I'm there, by the way, so you don't have to wait for me to live stream. You can go to the community, to Discord, or you can go on Discord and ask questions about Spanish. You can share tips about learning Spanish. You can interact with other people there. I think we have 20 something people. I believe so. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's great. I have a lot of fun actually reading your comments, and I just like interacting with you guys. So if you want to join that community, just find the link in the video description down below. And okay, so thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and give this video a like. That helps me a lot. Thank you, Christopher, for getting the membership. That's awesome. And okay, Bruce. Hello, Bruce. De nada. Take care of yourself, guys. Be safe. I know the world is crazy right now, but let's stay positive and and just take care. Be safe, and I'll see you next time. Have a nice weekend. Feliz fin de semana. Okay. Adios. Bye-bye.